I think that most people can relate. I want my journal entries to be pretty and neat, but I make mistakes and always end up scribbling things out. And it can be kind of frustrating when you ask someone how to fix those mistakes, but the only thing they say is mistakes are okay. And yes, they are okay, of course, but sometimes you just want that super neat journal entry. You've come to the right place because I will be showing you a few ways on how you can correct your mistakes. Hello, my name is Sally and welcome to my channel. Before I start, I just want to note that obviously you can use a pencil to write your entries since it's erasable, but I'm sure you've already heard that pencil lead smudges and isn't as durable. We people from the journaling community definitely recommend that you use pens for your entries, but you can do whatever you want. That being said, let's get into the first method, which doesn't require you to have anything other than the pen that you have to correct the mistake you made. Instead of scribbling over the word, what I would do is just put a line through it or cover it up. It just looks more tidy than scribbled, but it still doesn't look the neatest. What my mom taught me to do is to draw over the word by making it into a little heart, or flower, or cloud, maybe even something else if you'd like. It's very easy and definitely keeps the page in a cleaner state. So this was just to give you an idea of what you could do when all you have is your pen at hand. Method number 2 is the one I would use most frequently to make neat pages. You can buy these correction pens with a special white fluid in them that covers the mistake up. What you do is simply shake the pen for the liquid to be properly mixed, open the cap, and as you have the pen pressed against the paper, you squeeze the sides. The most popular brand that I know is Tibex, and you can also get the fluid in a bottle with a little brush or sponge so you can dab it over your mistake. Another product that they sell is a tape roller, but I just find it hard to use since when I pull it onto the paper it can break and just not turn out as neat. The downside of the liquid correction pen though is that if you put a lot on, it can take a good while to dry. And also when it's hardened and you write over it, it can crack, but overall I do think it's the best choice. Number 3, this is what I would do when I was younger. I'd simply write my corrected word out on the sheet, then cut it out and tape it over my mistake. It might be something you do when you have a mistake and you really want to fix it and there's no other way for you to fix it at the moment. It's just something I wouldn't recommend doing all the time since it would take so much work. Also, tape isn't super neat, so you might want to use glue instead, but you have to be careful because glue isn't as strong and it might fall off unless you have a really strong glue. Please make sure to subscribe to this video if it has been useful to you so far. So now we're on to method number 4. Where I live, this method isn't as common and I found out about it in Germany. There, these correction pens are really popular and they're called Tintenkiller, which literally translates to as ink killer since it kills the ink off the page. I don't think it's an official English term, but when I still googled ink killer, the pens did pop up. For this correction pen to work, you cannot use a ballpoint pen. It has to be a pen that uses either ink from a bottle or special ink cartridges. After you write using a pen with this ink and the ink is dry, you simply go over your mistake with the ink killer using the white tip. Then you flip it around and write on top with the blue tip. Quite easy. Regarding the pen that you need for this, you can buy either a fountain or a calligraphy pen that is refillable or used by dipping the tip in the ink. This can be quite messy, so I do recommend getting a pen that uses ink cartridges, which I mentioned earlier. These pens can leak though, which can get messy at times, so to have it even less messy, you can get a pen without the special nib. It's called a Rollerball pen in German. I don't know why, because it doesn't have a little ball that rolls on the top like ballpoint pens do, but anyway, it's called Rollerball pen. They just have special ink cartridges for them with a little special pointy tip. They're not too easy to find, so I'll have a link for them in the description down below. I guess you can test this correction pen to see if it does work on pens that don't use refillable ink, but from what I know, it just makes everything smudged and not pretty. Which leads me to my disclaimer that you can only use this pen to correct your word once. The white tip does not erase the blue tip, and it just makes it smudge and it makes the tip dirty. Also, you are not able to go over with normal ink over the place where you went over with the white tip. It just doesn't work. I do like this correction pen, but it is cheaper to just get new ballpoint pens rather than ink cartridges all the time. And especially now that I'm not in Germany anymore, I don't think they sell them much here either. And I do also find that my handwriting looks neater when I use a ballpoint pen rather than those kind of pens. And method number 5, the last product that you can use, are the friction erasable pens. I used to have one and they're fine I guess, but I never felt like this draw that I needed to buy more or something. So yeah, it's not something I would necessarily use, but I do know that a lot of people do think they're good and like using them, so maybe you should just give a shot and see if you like them or not. The pen has an eraser on the tip and you just rub the ink out with it. That's literally all you have to do with this pen, but I did read some people warn that the ink fades because of heat. so you'd have to store your journals in a cool place out of direct sunlight. Comment down below which one of these methods you would be most likely to use. So now you can fix the mistakes in your journal, but if you're still struggling with how to actually journal, make sure to watch this video right here.